Welcome to the warehouse. Have you ever heard a sermon and thought, how in the world did he discover that? Or where did he get that idea? Every week at Cornerstone Church, two teams dig into the biblical text that'll be taught during our weekend services. We spend hours talking about the text, the context, the culture of the time, you name it. But you can't stuff all that into a 30-minute message. That's where we come in. We're going to show you the stuff in the warehouse that didn't make it to the stage. Hey, Stephanie, when you have a fever, what do you do?
I tend to still just work or do life because I have 3 children who really don't let me rest. But Rylan, I will say, my oldest, who's 13, she will take care of things while I'm sick.
Nice. So if you have her there to take care of things, what do you do?
Lay on the couch and watch my kids.
You lay on the couch and watch your kids when you're sick?
Yeah, because I still want to see them. I like to watch them play or watch them laugh whenever something funny happens.
Yeah.
They're
Do you have a specific blanket for when you're not feeling well?
No, I use all of the blankets.
All of them.
And then just put them all back. Don't wash them. I'm joking.
Yeah. You just keep it in the chest until next time. What foods, when you're not feeling well, do you have foods that you crave?
My mom will still make me chicken noodle soup.
Homemade?
Yeah.
Oh.
Small noodles, big noodles.
She does the egg noodles.
Yep. That's the way.
That is the surest evidence that something's homemade. The egg noodle. I like a good egg noodle. Nathan, when you got a favor.
Can I ask
do me
you
this favor? When you have a fever, what do you need?
I need more cowbell.
Yes.
I don't get it.
I don't know how Stephanie has avoided this. I'm sure Parker knows what we're talking about, right?
Is that meaning like you're...
Parker doesn't know either.
The greatest skit in SNL history, and you guys just are unaware.
No.
Do you know the Blue Oyster Cult?
No.
Okay.
No.
Behind the music?
Do you know who Will Ferrell is?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Now we found a jumping off point.
Okay, so are you going to explain it or are we...
No. And also, when you're not feeling well, what protocols do you have in place?
You know, my wife will end up watching all of the children, and I will just sleep a whole lot.
You stay in bed?
I generally stay in bed.
That's what Justin does too. Like if he's sick, he's in bed all day sleeping. So what does Tia do when she is sick?
It depends. Like if it's been bad, like I'll stay home with the kids. It just has rarely been that.
Right.
It's really been that. I don't know.
Oh, no.
We might have different.
She says
we probably have different
that?
thresholds.
Yeah.
I mean, the man cold is kind of a real thing.
Yeah, it is.
I wish women could experience that so they'd stop whining about childbirth.
Exactly. If they ever had a man cold.
I mean, this childbirth nonsense,
goodness.
we would never hear about it again.
No.
Email your complaints to
Stephanie
at cornerstone.team. No. S. McCroy at cornerstone.team.
Yes. We're just going to set up Stephanie at cornerstone.team as like a just an auto archive address.
And the auto reply is right in the bin. Do you have, so if you're in bed, you don't have a designated sick blanket?
No, just the normal blankets.
Just in bed.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I will generally like read or something. If I'm awake, I'm not really like we don't have a TV in our bedroom and stuff. And so it's like, I don't really watch TV or anything like that. I'm not really like just a browse YouTube person, but I'll snag a book and read.
You're not a browse YouTube person. I thought you said browsy YouTube person.
Oh, no, I might have, but I don't really like I go to YouTube to find specific things.
Use it as a search engine.
I use it as a search engine.
Because it's the world's second largest search engine.
And the world's largest social media platform, right?
I think it is.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, Jay, you're being very specific on these questions.
Yes.
Especially with the blanket part.
Yes. The correct answer is yes. I close all the doors. I enjoy people coming in and checking on me. Like that's a necessity. But I'm not someone who would voluntarily watch a lot of people, like just watching them.
I like to see my kids.
That's awesome. I don't want to see nothing. I'm going to watch reruns, usually Parks and Rec or The Office.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it'll be like an action movie sometime. but I'm in. I've got an old school, not quilt, but almost like you'd put it on the top of a bed, but it doesn't have the weight of a quilt, but it's like royal blue on one side and red on the other, and that's my blanket.
And do you whenever you start feeling better, you switch it from the red side to the blue side?
Blue to red.
Okay.
Blue to red. Blue is I'm down. I need to rest. Red is hey, I'm feeling better.
Okay.
Oh, I would think red temperature.
Fever, yeah.
You would think.
Blue.
No. Blue.
No
I need
fever.
it. I need it subdued because I'm getting well.
Okay.
We've been talking about this for 5 minutes. It's impressive.
Well, the first 20 seconds were dead air.
Yeah. And then I don't know if do you guys listen to podcasts on a higher speed?
Yes.
I'm
Never.
generally oh, really?
Yes.
I listen as God intended.
Wow.
Okay.
Au natural.
Nope. 1.5.
Yeah.
You?
It just depends on it. I've gotten to where a lot of things I'll listen 1.8 to 2.
Holy cow, that's
Whoa. Do you even understand what they're saying?
he's just getting through those books.
my seminary. Yeah, exactly. I just say I read it. It's I have no idea what. No, my seminary videos and stuff. I'll generally watch them on 2x. But my professor talks so slow.
But how?
Oh, well, okay.
No. I still you are making these people sound like chipmunks.
No,
No.
it doesn't raise the pitch of their voice, just the speed.
It raises the pitch.
Yeah.
If you think
Whatever.
it raises the pitch, email us. Warehouse
Stephanie
at Cornerstone.
at cornerstone.team.
All right. All
In
that
the
to,
bin.
all that to say, I was sick when we had exegesis on this, and we were supposed to record that day as well. And these three graciously moved the recording.
We did.
That's why I actually caught the fever, because I didn't.
You want to avoid it?
Yeah, I didn't want to talk to these people that day.
That's lies. You were so happy we moved it because
I felt really nice.
Yeah.
you
but-
felt really nice.
I did. Yes, it was really nice. I did feel really nice. Hey, we're going to be in Luke 23, verses 33 to 43. And as I read this thing, I was so upset I missed exegesis because, I've been talking about Alistair Begg's little story on this section of scripture 3 different times, and it's going to happen again. And we might, I might have the link that we could put on the description, because that'd be cool too. But yeah,
Go to htt
to Stephanie at cornerstone.team.
Okay.
ps : //
Hey, Luke 23, 33 to 43. Nathan, what was your big idea this week?
Jesus refused to save himself in order to save others.
Yeah. It was
Even
good.
though he could have.
Even though he could have.
Stephanie?
I don't have one to share this week.
You do not have a big idea?
Nope.
Or was that your big
She's
idea?
having a hard time finding the significance in the crucifixion of Jesus.
Yeah.
Not true. Not true.
It's not a really big point in the church.
Listen. I had something, and then I got made fun of. So
Aw, Stephanie.
So now I'm not sharing it.
Wait.
What was it?
But wait, let's remember.
Nope.
Let's remember, though.
Aw,
I
we
was not
promised
there.
not to make fun of you.
Yeah, okay.
Wink, wink.
I was not there. So
No,
I-
Yeah, Jay wouldn't have. He would have defended you.
No, he wouldn't.
Yeah, he shows that chivalry's
Yeah.
alive and well.
Yeah, I'm very chivalrous.
All right. So
was
let's move
your-
on to context.
No, what was your big idea?
No, not saying it. Seriously. Context.
All right. My big idea, when Jesus invites us, no one can bar us.
Bar us
Bar.
Or ban. I like
Okay.
bar.
Bar.
takes me back to the old days.
When you were in law school,
Mm-hmm.
studying for it.
No, whenever we would bar people from the bar.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But if Jesus invites, no one can do it.
no one can.
Okay.
I had a big idea. Let's hear yours.
I'm very proud of you for doing one in such
Thank you.
short timing.
How did you get... Oh, yeah. Context. What context do we need? We're in Luke today. We've been in John the last couple weeks, and we will be again next week. So what do we need? Luke 23. What
Stephanie
kind
had
of
great
context?
context. Bring it.
I had that it's written by Luke.
The
known as-
doctor?
Yes. My brain is not functioning yet. Why was it written? To confirm the teachings explain God's plan involving Israel's rejection and Gentile inclusion, clarify the timing of Jesus' return, and reassure against any earthly powers like Rome. and the audience. So both Luke and Acts are addressed to Theophilus, about whom nothing more is known. So we don't know who he is. We just know that like the broader audience consistently was Gentile Christians like Theophilus who had already been taught. And we see that in Luke 1:4.
Mm-hmm. Some people have posited that Theophilus, I mean, it means God lover. So it could be like just a title for like, hey, anyone who wants to read this who loves God, except, so that's been posited, but there's good reason to think that that's not the case. Good. Yeah, because specifically he addressed him as most excellent Theophilus.
Oh, sure.
Which seems to be like that was regularly used for people in power. I actually just finished, we studied the Gospel of Luke. I read the chapter yesterday for my New Testament class. So
cool.
Something that's really interesting that I'd never thought about. Have you guys thought about like so we were talking about how Greece, whenever they would conquer places, like they would try to obliterate the religion and stuff. Rome did not do that. They allowed whatever peoples they conquered to like keep their religion. They called it religio licita.
Ooh.
That it would mean like the legal religion. And so like the Jews had a legal religion. They were allowed to practice and everything under Roman law. But then other religions that tried to pop up within were considered religio illicita.
Oh, illicit.
Illicit religion. And so Christianity, Judaism would have been legal. Christianity was illegal. Ooh. And whenever you track through Luke and Acts, there's some case to be made that like Luke is trying to show that Christian, like the Jesus was an honorable and innocent man. And then, because it's like, you think about it, like you're saying, hey, we worship the guy who like died alongside murderers on the cross.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that doesn't look very good. Mm-hmm. So for him to be tracking and saying Jesus was innocent, and then as he's even recounting like Paul's journey, I've never thought about this, but it's like, why is Paul appealing to like higher and higher authorities toward the end of his life? What if he's trying to make a case for the fact that religion should be a religio licita? Yeah, that Christianity should be legalized.
Wow.
That it's not harmful, that they're not rebels, that they're not going to overthrow the government.
And then you think that it happened.
Well, then you think, Romans 13, where he specifically writes about how like you are to be like submissive to the government.
Yeah.
And then it happens under Constantine.
Yes.
Whoa.
Well, it becomes, but then that's different even. So to say that it could be legal is one thing, but to make it the religion of the state and illegal to be anything else, that was not good for Christianity.
Yeah.
It was forcing everyone to be Christian. So it made it where Christianity was the only religio licita.
So that theory is that Luke was striving and Paul was striving to make it one of the accepted religions so that people weren't persecuted just for following the religion.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's neat.
It's interesting. It's like,
it is.
Yeah. So if that's one of the potential themes of Luke is to show that Christians are not like, trying to overthrow the government. Jesus was not a murderous like crook.
Speak for yourself. Some of us have our militias in the woods.
Okay.
Militias at cornerstone.team.
Does this get taken down off of? I don't know. Like, I'm sure AI is going to be knocking at your door.
I'm back.
Nathan.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Religio illicita.
Yes.
Oh, man, I like that. What other context do we have? Hey, don't go start militias, by the way.
Yeah.
Any other context? Man, that was good.
Oh, yeah. So you started this down this way, but so Luke he specifically is like he calls out in both cases that he's writing to Theophilus. Luke is one of the three synoptics. It was Mark was most likely written first, and Luke is saying that he specifically wants for them to have confidence in the things that they have heard. So he's writing to people who already believe in Jesus, who have heard the gospel. The gospel message has already gone out. It's already spreading. People are believing the news, but then they want like, they're looking for some fact checking. Like, hey, what are the actual details of this? So as he's writing, it's like that you may have assurance. Is that the word that he uses? That you may have assurance for the things that you've heard. Yeah. So Luke never met Jesus, like eye to eye. Was not actually an eyewitness of these things. He was interviewing eyewitnesses.
The ESV says that you may have certainty concerning the things you have been taught.
Yeah, there you go.
And we also know that he was known as a physician, which I think somebody already mentioned that.
Pediatric podiatrist.
Nope. I forgot all about that. And so was a close associate with Paul as well.
I'm wondering if that was the episode that we did that will come out after this one.
Ooh. That's some foreshadowing right there.
So if you haven't heard about our spiel on pediatric podiatry,
Oh no.
just wait.
No.
So Luke 23 through 43. How'd you guys break it up?
23, 32 through 43.
What did I say?
You just said 23 through 43 as if we were reading
I'm sorry.
20 chapters.
Yeah, 20 chapters. We'll do the first 5 chapters now.
Yeah.
33 through 43.
32 through 43.
We had 32. I didn't put 32 in here.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so yeah, basically we divided up 32 through 34 to start off with.
Awesome.
You gonna
Very
read it?
nice. Yes, because I don't have 32 because the spreadsheet said 33.
Well, maybe I was wrong then. If you guys are both right, then I was definitely wrong.
Huh.
How about 33 and 34? But
if it's
to read it?
If 32 is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Somebody may have released what's the gas at the dentist's
Laughing
office?
gas? No.
Nitrous oxide?
Yeah, somebody may have released them in the room.
Yeah.
Or it's
I
because
feel
we're recording before lunch.
we have some energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Misplaced.
Misplaced
what-
energy.
So do you-
Sorry, you guys are having to.
Yeah, Keith's
listen to
out there
this.
on his treadmill saying, "Would you people come on and get to the meat?"
So do you want to read 32 through 34 or we
Yeah,
just...
you read
Oh!
you read 32 and then I'll pick up at 33.
That's weird. 2 others who were criminals were led away to be put to death with him.
And when they came to the place that is called the skull, there they crucified him and the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. And Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And they cast lots to divide his garments. What'd you guys have for 32 through 34?
Mm-hmm. So that 2 others who were criminals, that apparently was not in the text to be studied, fulfills the prophecy from Isaiah 53, whenever Isaiah said that Jesus in his death would be numbered with the transgressors, which is something I never thought about before. I'd always thought about just that he's uniting himself, that he's dying the death that we deserve, or that he'd be numbered among the transgressors with us. I'd never thought about its literal fulfillment. Yeah.
Oh man. What did you guys look up what crimes led to crucifixion?
It was generally reserved for the worst criminals, because it was a very public execution, and they wanted people, the Roman government wanted people to know that these are really terrible things.
Yeah.
That said, aren't these criminals called robbers elsewhere?
Thieves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I'm that doesn't seem like I would think, murderers.
Yeah. And so when the people were given the choice between Jesus and Barabbas,
he was an insurrectionist.
yeah. And so I'm blanking, was it Pilate that gave him the choice? So Pilate gives him the choice. Do you think he's thinking, well, they're not gonna want to kill Jesus because this thing is a capital offense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Agreed.
Which makes it even crazier that we got here.
Yeah.
What else?
So crucifixion might have been named at the place of the skull. So traditionally we see Calvary. I'm going to the verse because I do this a lot, but verse 33 that called the skull, there is Calvary. So that's where people get the word Calvary. And so because it's Latin for Calvaris, and so that means the skull.
What's Golgotha?
Go ahead.
No, it was Greek for the skull, right?
Whoa.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. So
Calvary is from the Latin of the skull?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mind blown, right?
I don't think I'm going to ever study again. I'm loving this. I'm getting this stuff fresh. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So Calvary is a Latin for the Greek, Golgotha for the English. Place of the skull or just the skull?
The skull.
The skull.
Wow.
Yeah, so think about all of the songs that we sing that has Calvary, and we switched it to the skull.
Whoa. It's much more. It has a much more poetic tone than Golgotha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh man, that Latin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There are some words that like I always have to check myself to make sure I'm saying it right.
Did
Cavalry versus cavalry.
Cavalry,
No,
yeah.
you said it right, but like I always have to. I'm like, which cavalry is?
When I try to say cavalry, I have to make sure
Well-
I'm saying cavalry right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other one would be like, that angels fall prostrate before the Lord for obvious reasons. There's way too much laughing for a podcast on the crucifixion.
Apologies, friends. What else? 32 through 34.
So also talking about like crucifixion and how it was done such in a public way, they would tend to take the one who was being crucified through the town on a longer stretch. So then they really could be taunted and mocked and made fun of. I guess all of that means the same words, but like on their way up there, they wanted to basically point at them and be like, don't be like these people.
Let's make this guy feel crappy, even though he's getting ready to die. It's, hey, you people in the crowd, don't do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of the same idea of the public hangings in the Old West.
Yeah.
It's that, this guy's paying, but you guys, what we think, the data doesn't really back it up that capital punishment in our society anyway does that, is a deterrent, but interesting ideas.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. What else?
It's kind of interesting this, and Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Like you'll see probably in your Bible, there's a footnote there that like the earliest manuscripts don't have that.
Interesting. So
it seems like it's, from what I've read, like it seems likely that someone added it in later. And it's not outside of Jesus' character at all. Like whenever you look at the Lord's Prayer recorded earlier in Luke and stuff, it's definitely within Jesus' character to do this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do the other gospels have
No.
him saying this?
No. And also there is like thought that it could have been omitted because it showed that there was not the prayer wasn't answered. So it would have been omitted by scribes who felt that the prayer was unseemly or was not answered.
Oh, so you think that person thinks originally it was, but scribes didn't put it in.
Right.
Yeah. So it could have been Jesus. Yeah. Luke interviewed, and it actually did happen, and it was omitted. And the other reason I've seen that like people said that it might have been omitted was because there was like whenever Luke was written, there was kind of some intense animosity between Jews and Christians. And so
we don't want to forgive these guys.
Right,
We're at war with them.
Yeah. Yeah. So who knows? Exactly.
That's so interesting. And they cast lots to divide his garments. Do you guys have anything for that?
That was apparently a really normal thing for them to do. I always thought it was like kind of unique. But this was something that they did. It was kind of a sport. While they're dying up there, they're rolling dice down here on the ground.
So the Roman soldiers, this was just a normal Thursday, Friday afternoon, morning.
Yeah. I did see that there was something in one of the other Gospels. It mentions specifically the fact that his tunic was in one piece.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to roll, like they had to cast lots for it. They couldn't, they weren't going to tear it. So it's like, I do think it's interesting that maybe they did typically divide up the garments, but that the one piece was called out specifically so that they would have to cast lots, because that fulfills Psalm 22:18.
Yeah.
Not just that they would divide up, but that they would cast lots to do it.
Yeah.
So there were not enough garments to go around. So one guy's out because this is usually a two-piece garment.
Yeah, potentially.
And we do see that this was something they did because of Stephen. Also, the Roman custom awarded the soldiers that victims' clothes. So,
with Paul holding his wait, no.
Wait.
No, I'm trying to think of like what you're talking about with Stephen.
Yeah. So Stephen, Acts 7:60. I think ancient biographers often paralleled different figures, and Luke parallels with Jesus, the first martyr of the second volume. So Stephen, Acts 7:60. So Roman custom awarded the soldiers' victims the clothes. People in iniquity made many decisions by means of casting lots.
Is that part paralleled, or I thought that just referred to the fact that like So another reason that people insert that they were saying that this Father forgive them for they know not what they do. That is what Stephen says at his death. So
nope, I'm just ignore what I said. Yep, ignore it.
No, it's okay. You were reading. It's like one commentary said both things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you were just kind of tying both of them to that parallel, but that's not necessarily the case.
Witnesses laid down their garments at the feet of a young man named Saul.
Right. That's not.
Yeah, not the same thing.
Yeah.
But Stephen does say that Father forgive them for they know not what
Lord,
they do.
do not hold this sin against them.
That makes
and again,
more
this is
sense.
And this is also like the same author, so Luke and Acts. So that would be the other reason that
do not hold the sin against them. Yep.
It'd be
so it's also possible that like as people were transcribing it, that they take what Stephen said and put it in Jesus' mouth, because it's like it's obviously a Christ-like thing for Stephen to do to offer to ask forgiveness for his.
Wow,
brothers.
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
I like this coming in fresh. We should have her study the text, then record, then we study and go to exegesis.
Nope.
Ooh.
No. Because then you guys couldn't call me out like that.
But she has all the best words.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
32 through 34, anything else? Well, how about 35 through 38?
Yeah, that's what I did.
Woo! And I got really excited about that. And the people stood by watching, but the rulers scoffed at him, saying, "He saved others. Let him save himself, if he is the Christ of God, his chosen one." The soldiers also mocked him, coming up and offering him sour wine and saying, "If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself." There was also an inscription over him, "This is the King of the Jews." Oof.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have? What rulers are we talking about there?
So, something that's interesting here. So I had always put it as that the people are mocking, but the way Luke's recording it, he specifically is separating the people stood by in verse 35, and the people stood by watching, but the rulers scoffed. And then 36, the soldiers mocked. And then, the soldiers mock, and then the criminals rail at him. So you've got the rulers, the soldiers, and the criminals are the ones mocking and jeering.
So rulers, are we thinking the Jewish rulers?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't. I guess it could go either way.
So a lot of us who grew up in church, we've heard stories, we've heard sermons of especially things about the crucifixion and what the sour wine meant and what casting lots meant. What'd you guys find about the sour wine?
For the sour wine, I just had that the soldiers offering sour wine or wine vinegar could be seen as a merciful act, because it could relieve pain and thirst. However, Luke is clarifying that they are mocking him, so it's not unexpected, as sour wine is a common choice for quenching thirst among soldiers due to its cost and effectiveness compared to regular wine. And then Nathan had some really good insight on there was 2 different wines that would be offered.
So what you're saying is this is part of the mocking.
Yeah.
This is part. So King of the Jews, you should be having the finest wine.
Yes.
The finest grapes, the best that Jesus turned water into the best wine, and now. And
also it was known that like sour wine could help make you not as thirsty, so it'd take away the thirstiness, so quench your thirst. But that is not what they're doing here.
Yeah, so it's easier to see in Mark 15 because Jesus has offered wine twice, and Mark lists both of them. The first time they offered him wine mixed with myrrh, but he did not take it. And so a commentary I was reading said that the wine mixed with myrrh functioned as like a narcotic drink, that it would dull the pain, help you be like, it would nitrous oxide you and make you like loopy, right? Yeah. Where you wouldn't feel it as much. So the wine mixed with myrrh was designed to do that. Jesus refuses that one.
Because he wanted to be there.
To be fully present.
Is what we're, is how we've come to talk about that.
And then the second, so that's Mark 15:23, and then 15:35. after some bystanders thought he was calling for Elijah, someone ran and filled a sponge with sour wine, put it on a reed, and gave it to him to drink, saying, "Wait, let's see if Elijah will come take him down." And so commentary there says that sour wine vinegar like was actually designed to increase your presence of mind, to refresh you, so like to make you awake and alert, rather than like looping out of it.
So would that have been for the soldiers?
Yes.
If tying these two things together, the soldiers have to stay alert. They're
exactly.
here all day. It's hot out there. They're bored.
Yeah, so this shows that in Greek and Roman literature as well, that sour wine vinegar was a common beverage appreciated by laborers and soldiers because it relieved thirst more effectively than water and was inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it was a bit of an upper.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So he doesn't take the myrrh that would dull his senses, that would ease some of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
But later he does take the drink that would make him more alert and more aware of what's going on.
Yeah. Something.
Golly.
So this is something that I'd never noticed before, but was being made, like I was reading the case for it in Mark, like commentary on Mark, or that my professor was talking about in Mark. Specifically, Mark records how Jesus like shouted and then breathed his last. And the thing that kills you in crucifixion is asphyxiation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so like you slowly get to where you can no longer lift yourself up to get a breath. Mm-hmm. And so like, there's a case being made for the fact that like Jesus, actually voluntarily like died. Not just that he voluntarily went to crucifixion, but that like if he had the ability to shout.
Oh, at that stage in the crucifixion.
At that stage in his crucifixion. And then immediately it says, and then he breathed his last.
Ooh.
It's like, what if there's the element of him voluntarily just like expelling his life force, basically saying, it's done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No one takes my life from me.
Right.
I lay it down.
Yeah. Because the argument was being made like, if you're asphyxiating and about to take your last breath, you don't have...
Yeah, your second to last
voice.
breath. Your second to last breath, if you're asphyxiating, is not a shout.
Right. Anyway, it's an interesting thought. And then out of that, for the Roman centurion to say, surely this man was the Son of God.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that would have been enough.
That, like,
wait. And then also, then they wouldn't have had to break his legs.
Right. Yep. Which the Psalm
is
says
another
that his
fulfillment.
Yeah, that his. So anyway, I'd never thought about that, but like to show that up until the very end, like Jesus was in control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
and so
really cool.
that he wouldn't take the wine mixed with myrrh that would put him out of control and like make him under the influence, but he did take the thing that makes him fresh, like his best version of himself, while he's suffering, and then gives up his last breath voluntarily. It's like, I don't know. That's interesting.
Man, deity being displayed even his second to last breath.
To the point where a Roman centurion who stands around, like that Rome was known for, like centurions would have seen death like regularly, and executions were a regular thing. And so it's not like he just has a lot of empathy for people being crucified. He's like, man, that was a pretty good dude.
Yeah.
Like there's something different about Jesus in that convinces him.
Oh man, that's so cool. Man, what else?
Anyway.
I don't think I had very much. There was, so there was one little nugget that I found about the comparison for this part of where they're mocking him and saying, like, if he can save himself, let him save himself, and just the comparison between Satan in the wilderness with Jesus, like turn this rock into bread.
Oh, interesting. So, one last time to try to get him to not do what he's planned to do.
Right.
And even though, like, throw yourself down off the temple because the angels will save you, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Oh, man.
I thought that was kind of neat.
Well, even here, thinking he's beaten Jesus, and even here, trying to get it to him that little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then
you guys can't see me twisting the knife,
but we can
in this audible medium.
Yeah. You're
twisting it really good.
Thanks.
Look at you.
So the inscription. What did you guys look up stuff on the inscription?
I had seen that. I'd always assumed that this was like a unique one-off or whatever, but like this was part of what the Romans did. That they would put the criminal charges above them. above the criminals as they're dying. And Stephanie mentioned even seeing that, like, they would hang it around their neck while they're walking through town.
Yeah.
And then,
So this is Steve, and he killed 7 people over the span of 2 months. Yeah. And so his sentence, he's a murderer. And so Jesus' sentence, they made even that mockery.
Yeah. King of the Jews.
And they put it in several languages?
Yeah, it was in 3, right?
Normal?
Was it
Greek, Latin, Hebrew? I don't know what they would have been.
Aramaic, probably,
Aramaic,
right?
I would say over, yeah.
Over Hebrew?
Yeah. Well,
Hebrew wasn't really spoken at that point, right?
Greek, Latin, Aramaic. Yeah, I'm just spitballing. I didn't. Again.
And then I saw this, like, this is the King of the Jews, because Pilate, whenever they are getting frustrated because he wrote, "This is the King of the Jews," they ask him to, like, change it. Yeah. And he's like, "What I've written." And so I've always seen that as, like, an act of him just being like, "Hey, I kind of agree with you right now." But that's my...
Interesting. Awesome. Anything else? 35 to 38?
Oh, you're right. Hebrew, Latin, and Greek.
Come on with it.
High five.
Wow.
Interesting. Give it up. What'd you guys, 39 to 41, or did you finish it out?
Well,
good. You got something else?
I was just going to say, so that the mockery specifically is about his inability to save himself, which I just think is it's so ironic, right? Mm-hmm. So he absolutely could have, again, he's in control until his last breath. He absolutely could have saved himself. And so this verse 35, they're scoffing him, saying, "He saved others, let him save himself." Or then one of the criminals in 39, "Are you not the Christ? Save yourself and us." And what nobody recognizes is that by not saving himself, he is saving the others. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's good. Well, let's jump there. What'd you guys do? 39?
I just did 39 through the end.
To the end. One of the criminals who were hanged next. Oh, no, let's try that again. 39. Did you go through the rest? 39 through the rest?
39 through 43 is what I did.
One of the criminals who were hanged railed at him, saying, "Are you not the Christ? Save yourself and us." But the other rebuked him, saying, "Do you not fear God, since you're under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed justly, for we are receiving the due reward for our deeds, but this man has done nothing wrong." And he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And he said to him, "Truly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise." What you got?
One of my favorite modern hymns is "How Deep the Father's Love for Us."
Oh, yeah, that's good.
And like one of the verses that gets me every time is, "Behold the man upon a cross, my sin upon his shoulders. Ashamed I hear my mocking voice call out among the scoffers." Yeah. So it's like, as I read this, it's like, how hard-hearted do you have to be to shout this out? Especially as a criminal, you're dying for sins that you committed, and you're mocking another one of them.
Yeah.
It's like, and then to recognize that, like, apart from the grace of God, like, we're in that same spot.
Boy, that's good.
So one of the funny things that I shared at Exegesis was I always assumed that these two criminals were friends.
Right. Yeah, he was hanged by 2 members of the same gang.
Yep.
They went around. Yeah, they were partners in crime.
You said about the same thing everybody else did. I don't know why my brain ever made them friends.
Very small crime ring in Jerusalem.
Yeah. These 2 guys. No.
These 2 bros. And
I bet. So I'm almost positive there are several people who would have made that thing too.
Yeah.
We also were talking about, like, Barabbas is probably their ringleader.
That's what we said, yeah.
And he's free.
Or maybe maybe he's their older brother.
Yeah, to go get another 2 people to join his gang.
So from what we can tell, they are not friends, as we assume.
We don't have a biography on these guys, do we?
No, we don't even know their names.
No, I like it. I would not have been making fun of you there either. Just like when you tell us your big idea.
Not gonna happen.
Aye.
We also had a good conversation about how this is like the whole deathbed, like somebody coming to salvation on their deathbed, and Jesus saying, like, "I will see you today in paradise." So for that, I just thought that was good.
Yeah. So this criminal, this criminal like switches at first. Let's see. Where am I getting that at first they were both mocking him?
Yeah, they were.
They were.
Was it somewhere else?
Yes.
One of the other Gospels? Was it Mark's account?
I know we read it, and it was both of them were at one point in time, and then it switches to just the one.
Mark 15. Let's see, 32. Let the Christ, the King of Israel, come down now from the cross that we may see and believe.
Mm-hmm.
Those who were crucified with him also reviled him.
Got it. Good job.
Yeah, and one switched. Something fierce.
So I think it's really like important to note. Oh, what were you saying?
I just saw it, Matthew 27:44 as well.
Okay, sweet. So I think verse 41 is so powerful, like in even acknowledging like what is it that happens to us? What is the process for us whenever we come to like saving faith? Because we would say like this guy's statement and then Jesus' response to it, we would say this guy has saving faith. We're going to meet this criminal in heaven.
Yeah. The first entrant after Jesus, the first one who Jesus personally invites is this guy who was hung on the cross.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean,
I feel like Alistair Begg had something to say about that, didn't he?
he really did.
Oh, I thought Jay just did that all by himself. I retract my whoa.
Yeah.
No. That's what I just, that is
what he
just
just said.
me. But
I'm just
plug in.
I'm just segueing so Jay can
No,
say
but
it.
so yeah, that's the thing, right? That I've said it several times, and I really am sad that I wasn't here for actually the time we got to study it. But yeah, Alistair Begg tells this story of how he thinks it had to go when this man on the cross gets to the pearly gates and the angel is there, and he says, "All right," giving him a little quiz. What are you doing here? And he says, "I don't know." Yeah. Do you know the doctrine of sanctification? He says, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? What about Scripture? How, I don't know what you're talking about. And finally he says, hold on, I'm going to go get my supervisor. And so the supervisor angel comes and grills him some more. And he says, then what makes you think you can come in here? And he simply says, the man on the other cross told me I could come. And that I'll listen to that. And again, if I remember to send Parker the link, we'll have it in the description. I listen to that thing often. And then Alistair Begg goes on to preach that if our testimony, if our story of being saved is ever in the first person, it's terrible. Why should we let you in the gates? Well, because I believed, because I did this, and because I did that. Now it's only ever in the third person, because he saved, because he did it. He rescued me. And it's one of those clips that man, just every now and then, the algorithm, thankfully, will give it to me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, algorithm. / Holy Spirit.
That's right. The Holy Spirit taps into that YouTube algorithm ever so often.
So this verse 41, I guess it's end of 40 into 41, the end of 40 into 41.
Okay.
I realized I said that weird. So this criminal saying, we're under the same sentence of condemnation, and we indeed justly, for we are receiving the due reward of our deeds. And I think that's like such an important part of the gospel message, is that we recognize that we deserve death, like that we are sinners, and that we deserve like the worst of what could come to us. But this man has done nothing wrong. And then again, he doesn't turn around and say, he has nothing to offer Jesus. He can't say, I'm going to live a life. I'm going to tell everybody about how good you were. I'm going to tell everybody I was wrong. And he's getting ready to die.
Yeah, I'm going to die minutes after you.
Yeah. And so he has nothing to offer Jesus. And it's a simple request of Jesus. Remember me whenever you come into your kingdom.
Yeah.
And so he acknowledges his guilt. He recognizes Jesus' innocence, and that there is and he asks him, and again, that remember whenever you come into your kingdom, everybody else is saying King of the Jews, ironically.
Right.
And he's saying, I believe that you are, have a kingdom. And so remember me whenever you come into it.
Ooh.
That's good.
And it's like, I mean, obviously he's not thinking, physical kingdom because they're both getting ready to be dead.
Mm-hmm.
He recognizes the spiritual reality of this kingdom.
Yeah. Oh man, that is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have anything else?
I had that. So I found this from a commentary as well, but this one says the thief on the cross had some distant time in mind, but Jesus told him today. The thief on the cross asked only to be remembered. Jesus said, "You will be with me." The thief on the cross looked only for a kingdom. Jesus promised him a paradise.
Yeah, I was just
That's
looking
wild.
at that. So he asked, bring me into your kingdom, your realm, your rule. And Jesus says, no, you're going to be with me in paradiso,
Yeah.
paradise. And Eden is what Strong's even use it as. You're going to be with me in paradise.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
It wasn't it the Persian term? Yeah. So, paradise derived from the Persian term paradisio. Is that how you just said that?
Sure.
You got it.
Okay. Was initially employed to the Septuagint to describe the Garden of Eden, as mentioned in Genesis 2:8. Later, it evolved into a symbol of future happiness for God's followers, as found in Isaiah 51:3. Within the context at hand, it signifies the state of joy that Jesus pledged to the repentant criminal immediately following death.
Yeah, it's used here, used in 2 Corinthians 12:4, when Paul says that one guy was caught up, and then in Revelation 2:7, which is the paradise of God.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
It's interesting. So the timestamp on this, like I have used before to make a case for like that there's no such thing as soul sleep. So soul sleep is the idea that like, you die and then you're just kind of like unaware of time passing or whatever.
Kind
and
of
then
in a coma.
Yeah. Or you go to a place, a holding cell or whatever, and wait for the day of Christ's return. So I still think I still don't think that's a great idea of what happens after we die. I think whenever you see Paul saying that to be absent from the body is to be present with Christ, whenever you see this, I think there's enough things that would make me say that we immediately go to be with Jesus. Yeah. But I will also say that you should not build that doctrine solely on this verse. That's not the point of this. The big deal is that Jesus is promising him that he's going to be with him in eternity.
Whatever your today looks like, you're going to be with me, pal.
Doesn't that come from 1 Thessalonians 4, though? Mm-hmm. For since we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so, though through Jesus, God will bring those who have fallen asleep. Mm-hmm. So that's where the whole soul sleep comes from, is from Paul to Thessalonians.
Yeah, and
I can't talk.
I generally, I was not like freshened up on this doctrine to talk about it right now, so it's like I may end up saying something that's not quite right. In general, I think of that like those who are sleeping as being like the old covenant believers, who were like potentially, depending on how you think of this Abraham's bosom situation, like whether that's Jesus is describing a literal reality or whether he's just accommodating their understanding of the afterlife. That's kind of how I tend to think of it, like that. Like
if there was a holding cell, it was the holding cell for Old Testament saints,
right?
Until Jesus could come.
Yeah, but again, it's not really very clear in Scripture, so there's plenty of room. It would be opinion or conviction at the strongest. Definitely not a belief level thing.
Oh, yeah,
it has no effect on our belief or walking through this life.
And either way, you can say with confidence that the experience for us would be as if, like, today we're with him in paradise. Yeah. So whether our souls are asleep in the next conscious moment is there, or like who knows how that.
And we'll be outside of time at that point anyway.
Ooh.
So
I don't think so.
Oh.
So anyway, God is the only one who's outside of time. So for eternity, we will experience things linearly. We are finite beings in the way we experience time and space.
Whoa.
God is the only one not limited by space or time.
Parker, mind blown noise right now, please. Holy cow.
Yeah. So for God, 1,000 years is like a day,
Yeah.
but that's not going to be true of
So
us.
we're
We'll
still gonna-
experience it.
Whoa.
Things chronologically, linearly, normal flow of time.
Mhm.
We don't, because we go to heaven does not make us infinite. We will continue. We will
Yeah, I
be
just
permanent,
thought-
but still finite.
Yeah, I thought time was just a thing that he created as well, and we wouldn't need it anymore.
Well, but we'll still be within creation. We're still
Mhm.
the created. We're still enjoying creation. It's not.
Because you still we see in Revelation with the garden is now back, and there's the tree and that produces fruit, and it changes, and
Whoa.
So
Mind blown
time,
again.
space.
Second time, Parker. Man, what else you have?
that's all I
Blow my
have.
mind one
Yeah.
more time.
That was it for
With
me.
your things.
Oh,
Nice. Come on.
Well,
Bring it.
this was just like a general note on this, specifically like the parallel between the way the irony happens with the mocking and everything versus like the way that they're saying things that are true, even though they don't know it and they mean it derisively. So a commentator said, the mockers assume that a savior on a cross is ridiculous, but Luke and the readers believe that God saves by a cross. And then goes on to say, king and cross may have been combined for the first time by pagans who mocked, but they were soon repeated in the earliest Christian confessions. That we have a king on the cross, that Christ died. And so like that phrasing that we see in some of the earliest Christ hymns, I think 1 Corinthians 15 mentioned like Christ died is the simplest, explanation of the gospel, because in Christ we have the Messiah, the promised one, the Savior, and he did it by dying.
Shoo. You know that song when you hear really good jazz, or that face you make when you hear really good jazz? Yeah. I was doing that all throughout you talking about that.
Yeah.
Just
Stank face.
stanky truth. Mm. Come on.
Oh, new podcast name.
Ooh, merch.
Yes, stanky truth. Just
that
with
was
your
good.
sneering face on it.
Yeah, our king used a cross.
Yeah.
Woo! Come on. What are you guys excited to hear?
All of this.
Yeah,
All this.
he's not leaving any of this out, I bet.
Yeah.
That whole hour and a half meeting.
Plus a 54-minute
That's right.
podcast.
He's going to add this. He's going to play the Alistair Begg clip.
Yep.
It's gonna do it all.
Yep.
That 10-minute clip from The Chosen
That's
that
right.
he had to pull out last week.
Yep. What are you excited to hear, Stephanie?
Yep.
Yay. I think so. Not being there. And so was I gone the day for communicator meeting too? Was it this one that he had that for? Okay. So he hasn't had that. So he might pull one in, but he probably won't. I'm really excited to see how he connects this to us and leadership.
Ooh.
And
Yeah. I've really enjoyed that a lot lately, is how he's taking this and then putting it with leadership. And it's like, oh yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. If we're supposed to be able to say, follow me as I follow Christ, if that's what Christian leadership really is, then our leadership should look a whole lot like following Jesus.
yeah, man. Anything
good.
else?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I'm ever studying again. I like coming in here.
No,
Just
you
totally
have to.
blank. Guys, if you also like being totally blank, reach out to us, warehouse, cornerstone.team. We sure appreciate you listening. Tell your friends. Don't necessarily tell them about the first 8 minutes of this one, because we got a little too loopy there. But other than that,
Thanks. Oh, do I get to say it?
please.
The warehouse is closed. I need to say it. The warehouse is closed.
Yeah. Until next time, the warehouse is closed.
I mean, it works. They get the point.
Welcome to the warehouse.
Bye,
It's
Nathan.
closed.
Peace out, Girl Scout.